for that comment. So next person, please.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Cartwright. I have a bachelor and master's degree in accounting. I'm a CPA. My current role is as a chief financial officer of Money Bank and Trust, a bank focused on managing high net worth individual assets. The reason I'm taking this course is because I'm transitioning to a role that includes the head of risk management. So I felt it important to expand my horizons in that area.
Excellent idea, and we'll have quite a number of risk case studies where we're going to look at some good practices and also some bad practices and how people got into various problems. So you'll get a wider perspective. Thank you very much. And the lady next.
My name is Tiani Johnson. I'm currently involved at Bank of the Bahamas as the manager of card services. I'm currently taking this course just to get a better understanding of all areas of risk.
Okay, thank you very much. Now you might need to slide the microphone slightly down the table, but you'll have to let Miguel come back in to do that carefully because we're at the front speak for. Have you got your extension code today? Okay, next person.
Well, good afternoon to you. My name is Cara Davis, and I'm with Scotiabank. I am a small business credit risk manager, and my reason for taking this course is because risk has just evolved all around the world. So it's no longer about credit risk management, but actually enterprise risk. So understanding all of the risks involved with every aspect of our business.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's very important, and that's the latest publications that are coming out with the Basel Committee for Banking Supervision to take this. We've called it enterprise risk management for a number of years. With the Basel Committee, we were pleased with some of the more recent publications where they're calling it firm-wide. So firm-wide risk management picks up some of your comments straight away, that it's got to be looked at in a wider context. Yes, thank you.
Tyrone Knowles, Scotiabank, retail credit risk for the Caribbean North.
Right.
And again, from an enterprise risk perspective, just to get a clearer picture and be more supportive of the entire Scotiabank Caribbean region and regards to the risks that they're currently facing and likely to face in the future.
So we've got some credit people wanting to widen their experience. That's very good.
Hi, I'm Cherise Forbes. I currently work at Stock Bahamas. I'm the senior securities officer there. So even though my role may not be a managerial role, I'm just here trying to get a better understanding of how risk would somehow apply to me and to my department on the whole.
Excellent. So when you say securities, do you mean like stocks and shares, or what type of assets are you looking at?
It's really I really supervise the corporate actions desk. So it's more like stocks, bonds, funds, and all of that, and all of that.
Okay, well you'd be interested in our module this on the market risk side, so a very strong module on that, and also on the liquidity management side. Yes, thank you and welcome.
Good morning. My name is Tanya Farah. I work at CIBC First Caribbean. I've held various positions. My most recent one is business banking manager. Finding that risk is an aspect that we face in every area of the bank. So I have taken this course just to expand my knowledge base and to be more aware and hopefully prepare me for the next step.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Royanne Roll. I work at the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, senior officer in the Risk Analytics and Examinations Department. And I'm going to see a lot of y'all. The commission has moved from a compliance-based examination to now a risk-based examination. So the aim of, the commission is to make sure the officers are trained in all the various risks that the industry faces. So for me, that is one of my main things, to see what my colleagues here are dealing with. Yeah.
So we have a spy in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotta keep an eye on you.
No, no, serious note, it's good. We've always had people, from the central bank participating, and when Craig was governor, she actually endorsed the program, so it was really good, and it's good to get the different perspectives because compliance as a function has changed dramatically globally. It's become much more of a risk role instead of just looking at people, being compliant with the various regulations. You've now got to take a wider role.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcia Merritt. I am also employed with the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. However, I am senior officer in the supervision department. We do the ongoing monitoring of our registrants. But I am transitioning hopefully to the risk department. So I'm just trying to get a better knowledge of what it entails.
Excellent idea, and you're both sitting next to each other, so we'll have to watch out for the two ladies there. Next person.
Good afternoon or morning, sorry. I live in another world. I actually work for a casino.
Right.
On
Paradise Island or the Cable Beach?
Cable Beach, sir. And I'm here expanding my knowledge because financial management is something that we're all working with. And there's a lot of association of products with risk. So
Yes.
I'm here trying to gain knowledge to prepare myself for another role.
Okay, that's excellent. Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kendra Francis. I'm a senior administrator at Lifer International.
Right.
And I also want to broaden my knowledge of risk and possibly maybe move into another area to learn, to apply my knowledge after this course.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna Davis. I'm employed at Keystone Solutions. We are a financial corporate and service provider. I am the business services lead, in charge of investments and wires and the like. So for me, it's just broadening my horizons and preparing for the expansion.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. So you have interest in the investment module, and then, as you say, broadening your horizon into the other aspects of risk. You're welcome.
My name is Felicia Williams. I'm a compliance officer at CDH Bahamas. I'm compliance role is a dynamic role. It's always changing. Everything around is risk. So I'm here to get a broader understanding and to be able to expand my knowledge.
Yeah, the role of risk and the role of compliance keeps changing dramatically, as you say. And it's only a few weeks ago you probably read or saw on television the raid on the Deutsche Bank offices in Frankfurt in Germany. And that was to do with anti-money laundering suspected activities. Okay, I think we're moving into the other room now, Miguel. You have the
I'm actually sitting in the blind spot.
sorry.
It's okay. My name is Tanishka Richardson. I'm employed with Deltec Fund Services Limited.
Yes, I can just see you now.
I'm trying to turn this way so you can hear on the mic. And I'm in a compliance role also. But the bank and the enterprise that I'm with, the focus this year is on risk management.
Yes.
And so I'm just expanding ahead of them, I guess, with this designation, so that we can make that transition smooth for the enterprise.
Yes, that's right. The role that we've been discussing, the role of risk keeps increasing, and also the role of persons in compliance. Yes, welcome along. Sorry, I couldn't quite see you in the corner there.
It's okay. I'm kind of hiding up.
I just saw your hand move. Okay, we can start with Mr. Bobby Ryan. This is Lonai. Hi, good morning. My name is Bobby Ryan.
as actions officer. I'm here because I have to be here.
That's why he says that, because he has to be here. Otherwise he'd be out west somewhere, coming a few years.
Morning, my name is Aspen Cambridge. I am the long-term officer also at the Mountain College Corporation.
Right.
I am here because the National Institution of Affairs is expanding and this match will become our product of TM Pro, which is getting a jump on the my website.
So your room's breaking up a little bit with we're managing, I think. Wait. You're breaking up as well, Miguel.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's what they having two rooms going, Gentlemen in the blue.
Yeah.
They're behind us. Behind this blue t-shirt?
Hi, my name is Anthony Stubbs. I'm Executive Director of IF Capital Group. We're the world's leading forex trading providers. We think globally, so enterprise is a hot topic in our arena. So we can transform this without type of business. Liquidity seems to be a one issue. Just want to get a better understanding of how to manage operating, how to buy labor science officer law.
Well, we have a very strong module on credit and operational risks. Looking at operational risk side also on market risk and liquidity. So finally, the lady next to you.
Good morning, my name is I work for the Central Bank of the Bahamas.
All right, welcome.
I'm a senior statistical officer. I work in the research department, so not that is supervision, but yes, I came from Florida.
Well, we can see you now as Miguel, sorry about that.
So that's fine.
Yeah, definitely rather be looking at you than Miguel, Okay, now the lady in the pink, Maroon, I'm not sure. Maroon.
Good morning, my name is Smith Singh. I'm the head of operations at EG Bank and Trust. I'm part of Trust just for this knowledge on this.
Excellent. Okay, well, welcome everybody. So we
One more.
The guy's not he's not doing a very good job on the camera, is he? There's another lady.
Good morning, my name is Beneath Forbes. I'm currently employed at Commonwealth Bank, and I'm here because we have expanded our reporting in the operations area. So I wanted the skills necessary to ensure that my reporting is a lot accurate, and then to also broaden my graph opportunity.
Yeah. So two primary function. One to increase your ability when you talk about reporting. I mean that's a very international aspect. It's called the transparency aspect under reporting, and this is becoming more and more important. And during the program, we give you, a number of websites that you can visit just to take your knowledge, beyond the materials that we'll be providing. So we'll give you a number of web links, particularly this aspect of reporting on risk. Two very good websites to look at for risk reporting would be Barclays Bank, who I used to work for a long time ago. And of course, with Barclays being such a global organization, they've got to be quite transparent in the reporting. So you can take a look at the website of Barclays Bank and head for investor relations or media relations, and then you'll be able to see straight away, their reporting on risk standards and how they're managing it. So it's quite interesting to look at. And the other one to look at is the world's second largest bank, which is HSBC. HSBC starting out of Hong Kong and Shanghai all those years ago, but quickly achieving business by acquisition. And of course, that's another risky business, making acquisitions. But this acquisition was successful. They acquired Midland Bank in the UK. You know, Midland Bank, time moves so quick. Midland Bank 40, 50 years ago was the biggest bank in the UK. And now, of course, it doesn't exist whatsoever because it's, you know, part of the HSBC global presence. Okay, so that's two websites you could look at, Barclays and the HSBC. Now, Miguel, I need to ask for your help now because Skype have changed the format again. So how do I share the screen on this system?
Oh, I think you go to call somewhere there.
Just give me a second.
Okay. So he's going to bring up the course material on the screen. So you follow on. Yes, I'm here.
Online class, that's how sorry about that, I just had a slight interruption there. So I'm not in the office. Okay, yeah, Miguel, we were saying about sharing the screen.
Okay, sorry. I know you're using an Apple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I think there's you have it says home or settings.
Well, can you share it from? You can share it from your end.
I'll have to. Let me see if I can, and then I'll pull up the documents. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, you used to just click on share screen, but it's not there now. Let me just go to Skype then. Yeah, we'll just change this thing again, yeah.
Yeah. But two hours. Yeah, I have two boxes where I can share a screen. It's to my bottom left. Bottom right. It's two small boxes and it says share your screen.
Yeah, it's not showing on here.
What do you want me to put up first? I'll try. I'll share my screen.
Okay, you try sharing your screen and then put. And then can you put Enterprise Word risk management slides on the screen? Without one? Sorry about this, it's a nuisance. They've just changed this recently. And made it worse. Just like your jobs are getting worse. Nothing gets easier, everything gets worse.
Okay, what do you want? You want the Basel one up first? To what?
No, Enterprise risk management first.
Alright. Well, that'll be in your module, ladies and gentlemen.
Which
Behind his introduction.
I can see that. No, this is going to make you stuck, Miguel, because you have to move many slides. Yeah. So that's the second one. Go back to the first one. Has everybody found this? In the folders? Just give me a couple of minutes till you find it. So you should see two presentations. There's the Basel presentation and this enterprise risk management that we're going to start with. Okay, everybody there?
Yes.
Okay, well you can see just from the opening slide, the description of enterprise-wide risk management challenges and risk management practices, and that's what it's proven. The first risk management programs we did was after the Basel II publication, which was July 2004. And we'll dig into this document during this program because there's a lot of it still very, very, very relevant to what we're actually doing. It's a huge document. It's on this website, so if you want to look it out, it's www.bis, the Village from Central Banking Notice, that stands for Bank of International Settlements, so bis.org. And that's a good website to look at because there's lots of the Basel publications are actually on there. And I often jokingly say, well, when you look at these Basel publications, you never need to buy another book in your whole life because it'll keep you reading forever, because some of them are very lengthy indeed. So it was a bit of a landmark date because before that, we concentrated mainly on some persons in the room working in credit. The main thrust was on credit risk management, but of course then financial institutions, broadened their scope to include some market risk credits, and then we had quite a lot of operational risk issues. So when Basel II came out, Basel II focused on credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. So we'll be looking at this. Okay, next slide, Miguel. Okay, now when you look at this slide, you can see the center point of the slide. Now it's come up twice now, so I don't know if my screen's been through now. It looks like it may be. Let me try changing mine again and see if it changes on yours. Okay. No, it doesn't. No. But, so you see the center point is very, very, very important, and right throughout the risk management program, we'll keep coming back to this theme that the tone for risk management's got to be set from the top. So it's no use. I know some of you who are compliance officers, but it's no use. You as the compliance officer trying to agree really, really hard. To do a really good job. That's very important, but you can't really cascade these things upwards because there has to be a desire from the board of directors. So that's why you see right in the center of the wheel there, the design is forward risk policies and the important area of corporate governance. And in NASA how important corporate governance issues are, because of your proximity to the US. And, one of the things that America does in a highly regulated way, although I mentioned President Trump, he's trying to ease some of these regulations. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't want to really comment on that. But within your organization, the tone's got to be set from the top. So what we'd expect would be some type of risk governance and risk procedures, starting off, with the board of directors, maybe setting the scene 3, 4, 5 pages in the risk document, and setting out some parameters for risk. And then we look at whether the parts fit in as we progress through the program. So very, very important that's under blocks. Now, the next part is a little bit slightly contentious in our approach, and we've had discussions on this before. So if I ask you where at the start, I think a lot of people would probably head for the top right-hand corner, which is the strategy. Now, how do you feel as a group on that? Would most of you head for the top right? You go bottom right, the management aspect. Well, I'm hoping somebody would say top left because every institution so different, and the idea in enterprise-wide risk management is for your organization is to design something that's very bespoke to your organization. So really the best starting point is not to head for setting strategies or to head for management of the risks. What we need to do to begin with, is we need to identify the type of risks that your organization will be facing. Now, I know some risks will be unforeseen, but what we need to try and do is to try and come up, with the risks that we do foresee in the top left-hand corner. Do we have any way of measuring these risks? So identifying the risks is going to be difficult, measuring the extent of the risk difficult, and then the next step is trying to quantify the impact of this type of risks. That's difficult to get. And then the final part there, can we somehow try and shift some of these risks, or trade off some of these risks, or mitigate the risks? And probably insurance would come to mind as a possible hedging vehicle there. So that would be our starting point. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't fully agree with that, because the important thing, is the diagram overall. So the next step would be to set strategies, and again, this would need to be at senior level, setting out a strategic plan and key objectives, how we would look at these risks, and then coming up with some implementation plans, linking those into good corporate governance policies. So all of that is very much, generic thinking process. But the next bit is, where all of you will start to come in. And of course, this is the hardest part. We can all sit down this morning in SO and we can debate the risks, we can debate strategies. But the hard part, as you all know, is the implementation. And this is the role of management in the business in which you are. Because this will involve setting down processes, looking at how certain programs will need good leadership there. What outputs are we looking for? Do we need any innovation? One gentleman mentioned his global products, and I suspect you're going to need some strong technological assistance in managing the risks that we're looking at. And also, deep skills will be very important, training on programs like this, and then the Basel Committee recommend time and time again the building up of a database. And again, we'll look at the CIRM program, we'll look at building up what we like to call a risk register or a risk log of activities, incorporating a database. Now, the Basel recommendation is to try and build up 5 years data of risk events, to try and give you, a picture of what's happened in the past, and they suggest 3 years would be a minimum. So that's quite a big task in itself. And then the final part, time and time again, as risk managers, you will come across this final part where you will be challenged on the cash flow aspects, because these programs are going to cost some money, so the cash flow, there'll be a negative effect on cash flow to begin with. But what we're trying to look at here is a longer term perspective as opposed to a short-term perspective. And then we'll be looking at during the program certain value-based measurements as opposed to traditional measurements coming through there. We're getting a lot of interference now. I don't know if I'm sounding okay with you. Isn't it okay with you, or is it just breaking up what I can hear?
It's just breaking up a bit, yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, next slide. Please. Okay, so during the introduction, some of you mentioned this in various aspects. Out there at the moment, there's, for example, there's an unforgiving stock market. Things are going wrong, share prices collapse, as we've seen on numerous occasions, with new regulatory accounting requirements. Some persons actually talk now of regulatory fatigue, particularly those working in the central banks. There's more and more to cope with on the regulatory side. And then there's accounting requirements. Accounting requirements quite difficult for you in NASA, again, because of your approximation to the USA. So you have to cope occasionally, with American style accounting presentation, and at the same time you need to be familiar with what the rest of the world tends to do, the international reporting standards. And then we've had these industry debacles. Quite a few years ago now, we had the Enron collapse. Enron was the world's largest corporations going into liquidation. We've had other things, the Madoff investment scandal, things like that, and I'll show you a few of these shortly. There is a strong focus today on corporate governance. This is getting tighter and tighter. And again, a good website for you to look at on that, if you wanted another reference, would be the Institute of Directors in the UK. So that's www.iod, standing for Institute of Directors.com, and they have some very good material actually on their website to do with corporate governance. Institute of Directors has over 70,000 members. So they're very, very strong on corporate governance issues. And another key factor is this aspect of enterprise risk management. I put here under the CRO, Chief Risk Officer. When we first started doing this program, there was hardly any organization had a Chief Risk Officer. Pleased to say nowadays we're getting more and more organizations appointing a Chief Risk Officer to try and do, again, what you're mentioning in the opening discussion, pulling together the risk reporting on an enterprise basis. And then also, very interestingly, we're getting this convergence of not just financial institutions, but insurance companies and the securities markets. So again, I'll show you something on this a bit later on, where we've got IASCO for the securities side, and then the insurance companies, they've got their own requirements, not called Basel II, but called Solvency II. And Solvency II, as you will see when we look at the outline of that, Solvency II, the approach is very similar to Basel II. So can we have the next slide, please? So when we take a short 5-minute break, in about 10 minutes time, we'll try and fix this screen share aspect. So what we're seeing evolving, and I put on the screen there a typical ERM structure, so that just means, that we're seeing a few of these coming through. And you can see the seniority of the person, coming along, Chief Risk Officer, at the same level as the Chief Financial Officer. So that's very, very important development, because in the past, I regret to say that some organizations just went to the compliance officer and said, look, here's Basel II, your compliance, let's just get on with it. That's your job to do it. which was, an absolutely hopeless task for the compliance officer to try and cope, with all of these different risks, the credit risk, market risk, and the operational risks, not to mention the liquidity risks, which come later, and then there's reputational risk, the strategic risk through mergers and acquisitions. So there's lots and lots of risks. So that's why we need the senior position that I hope some of you, will move towards, or you may already be occupying that position. And you see what we've done here is just to set out some reporting guidelines there. So you have credit risk reporting in, market risk reporting in through the Treasury, Asset Liability Management Committee, and ALCO, Asset Liability Committee. And then the next box is straight from the Basel recommendations. And we look at this again when you're doing operational risk. You see the Basel Committee recommends splitting any financial institution, and I know this lady there from Commonwealth Bank, so she might find this quite useful, in the more commercial style of bank, adopting these 8 different business lines. And of course, this is very hard to do, if you're sitting there with a blank piece of paper trying to think of how are we going to split our risk reporting in the commercial bank. Well, you don't need to struggle too much because you could start by looking at the Basel recommendations under this Basel II paper, where they give us 8 business lines. So we'll be looking at that and giving you information on that. And then the aspect of operational risk, how is that going to be managed? Well, it should be managed internally and also with the support internally of the inspection department, or whatever it's called, who are the internal style auditors. And then you can get the benefit of external audit as well, and supporting this application with IT and possibly some insurance. And then when you get the visit, from the central bank supervisors, try and use that in a creative way, because we're all there with the same purpose in mind, to try and make the institutions and the finance industry more stable. And we should see these visits in a more positive way. So next slide, we go, please. Sorry, I keep up to ask you this. So just have a couple more of these slides. I will take a very, very short break while I just rest my back for a minute or two. So if we can get this thing going, then what are the benefits? So how can we try and sell, the benefits to those people who challenge you? They will challenge you. A lot of people in the organisation, they're not interested in risk because, they want to develop more business. In fact, they see risk and risk people as a hindrance, don't they, to the business line development. So what benefits can we get from enterprise risk management? Well, it should improve the return on equity and the shareholder value. Well, this has been proven statistically over a few years now that the perception of value will be stronger for those organisations who have good risk procedures in place. It should have broadened risk awareness within the organisation, and by doing this, we should be at last able to align our risk profile to our strategy. So the two shouldn't be divorced. So we should see what's the strategic direction of the organisation, and can we align our risk profiles towards that. Now the next point is very, very important. It should help us minimise surprises and losses by having these good risk management systems in place. There's nothing worse than the volatility of a tremendous shock to the institution, which can result, if you're quoted on the stock market, in a major collapse in share price. It should help us with the central bank aspects of capital requirements, by linking into the international capital requirements, which, as we'll see when we look at the towards Basel III document, we'll see traditionally international capital requirement was 8%, but now that's increasing under the Basel requirements. But in any case, in Bahamas, generally you always have more capital than the minimum capital requirement because of your central bank taking quite a cautious approach to financial institution regulation. And then the final point on that benefit will assure regulatory compliance. Okay, I'm going to stop there just for a moment, and we're just going to take a short 5-minute break where you can take a quick leg stretch if you wish. And I'm going to try and get this share screen going with Miguel. And if not, we could maybe set up a Zoom meeting, Miguel, with the Zoom technology. Okay, guys, so I'll stop sharing. Yeah, so you stop sharing. So can we go on to just one room for a second? Can you go to the other room? Or do you have your main computer here? Yeah, I can run what he's run. The main room, so in the main room, is it breaking up a lot?
No, we good.
Oh, yeah, good. So it's only in the second room. Yes. We're expecting it here. Okay.
Change the venue.
We'll apologize for this. I don't mean to say anyone. Please,
yeah. In that second room again, when you're speaking now, it's breaking up absolutely terribly.
Okay.
We're going to go to the main room again, we'll try and get the share screen going.
Sorry, I have been from I
do apologize for this, but I'm going to change the venue for the next 2 Saturdays, okay?
It shows you must be popular in the girl, getting all these people to go on.
I said I don't know what's going on. I said that what's going risk sensitive, yes. All right. On my, you want to try something else? You said.
Yeah, you see, the problem I've got is I've got 2 screens showing at the moment, which are both rooms. So that's fine. And because those rooms are showing, I can't go to the bottom of the picture except to try and find the share facility. So can you close the second room just for a minute?
And
go to the big room.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll end their call then. And then I'll end their call and then we'll try and share.
So close out the second room. Okay, I can see the main room now. Okay. So if I move down towards the bottom of the screen, that's where the share screen.
Yeah, on my own is to the right. There's 2 small boxes and it says share screen.
No, that's not showing.
Share screen for Apple?
Yeah, for Apple.
Okay, let's see if it works on this. That's fine.
I think so.
Yeah, it used to be just under review, didn't it?
Yeah, it used to be if you go on somewhere around there.
He was telling me, see, I live where yeah, yeah. It's still open on our website. Yeah,
So you're saying something here about once you're in the form, there's a plus button, a plus icon.
Yeah, there should be a plus icon, yeah.
Yes, it's when you touch that plus icon, something should
Last
come up
time
and
I
say share screen.
Okay, let me try that. Thank you. Yeah, I can see a plus icon, and it says more options, yeah?
Okay, so no options.
It says more options.
Actually, just when I do
Yeah, okay, we got it, yeah, thank you very much.
I found this out, yeah.
Oh, you found it? Yeah. Excellent. I thought it said more options.
Yeah, thanks. It was under that plus sign for more options.
Okay,
That's
excellent.
great. That's great. So that relieves Miguel so he can go running off and do all the things he was doing. So Miguel, the first thing you need to set up the second room again.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, do they have the Barron's Bank case study?
No, I'll put that up for them now.
Yeah, because that's going to be our introductory case to get us thinking where here. We're getting there, that's good. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute. He's printing, should be printing out the Barron's case for you now.
We will be recording all classes, right? So I need you to go to YouTube and type in my name Miguel W. Pratt, and you will see my channel and you'll see the class, okay? So we put this video up online. Oh. Oh man. Yeah, and as I said, we're going to a different venue. And we're going to tell about Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
They're probably know us.
So you're only recording this first class?
No, we record all the classes.
Oh,
Okay?
good
You
news.
go on channel now, you see some other classes, some risk, some compliance stuff.
I missed a couple of
I said the same thing.
It was a problem. Yeah. Big mistake. It's a big mistake.
Yeah, it's for one word.
Okay, everything okay?
We good?
Has it, you good? Has he got the balance case?
Not as yet.
He's working on that now.
Okay. Okay, let me just move forward the slides. Have we got a case for that? Yeah.
We're back here.
Hey. Yeah, right, get it. All right, now. What, have you got the case printed out? Not yet. Sorry, not yet. Okay, well, we'll do a few more slides while we're waiting for the case, yeah? Sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, are you able to share screen? Mr. Jeffy? No? Yeah, we're sharing, yeah. You should see it, yes. So we see I'm sharing the screen because they can in the other room.
No, we can't see it here.
No, you don't see sharing in this room. Well, okay, just a second. Is it coming up now? Yes. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I know Miguel's doing his best. It's a complication of having the two rooms is what's giving us the problem. Okay, right, now we need that case study as quick as you can, Miguel. Okay, so we'll go through one or two more slides while Miguel is getting the case ready for us. So you can see, again, this was mentioned, from some of you in the introduction. You've got it already, have you? Barry, what did you say? No problem. Everybody else is good? The lady in the main room, she had a comment, yeah? So this is a good example of risk management for you. You prepare things, and then because suddenly you've got a larger group than you've got a room for, Miguel didn't foresee that risk, did you, Miguel? So if you got identified that risk in but we're not laughing at you, Miguel, it's just a good example of risk, isn't it? And of course, because we have the two rooms simultaneously on my screen, that meant I had the risk of not being able to share the screen because the plus button was hidden. Anyway, we've learned a lesson there. So the next step would be in terms of the control function, it will give us this, thing that you're looking for, several of you in the room, this integrated risk assessment approach, which will help us, with risk management, help us liaise more closely with audit, internal audit, more closely with legal and compliance.
I'm not thinking. There you go.
And then we can put all this together to have this integrated risk strategy. And some organizations, depending on the operation, one gentleman mentioning the global aspect, that you can have a global risk management committee and integrated risk reporting. So looking at the next slide, this is leading down the same track. As you can see, the integration of the business functions that you have in your organization. So once again, all organizations will be different. The Commonwealth Bank is going to be vastly different, to the lady from the casino enterprise. So you've got to look, at what products you have and what the relationship position is in terms of the risk. Well, one area where historically we're very poor at is when the financial institution brings in a new product. Because generally new products are developed by the marketing department, maybe with some ideas from some of the senior management. But generally the last thing on the organization's mind is to do a proper risk assessment of this new product before the new product is launched. And we were the same in Barclays. The first we would hear about it in our risk department was maybe when we saw something on television, the advert for the new product, or there was some advertising material from the marketing division. We never even seen it. We haven't even looked at it to see, in terms of credit risk, because I was in credit risk at the time, what would be the risk features with this new type of product. So very important. Business strategy we've talked about. Mergers and acquisitions. We do have a case study where where one bank is trying to acquire another bank. And I think you'll find this an interesting case study, because you've seen this yourselves, of course, in the Caribbean region. Banks coming together, sometimes successfully and sometimes not quite so successfully. We've had the same, of course, in the UK. So an M&A will be a time of risk because of all the underlying aspects. The people, will people be able to come together from a cultural perspective? What about the geographical implications? And then often in a merger or acquisition, there'll be a huge technological risk. Does one of the institutions have an IT platform that's sufficiently scalable for the two when they come together, or are you going to get this disparity of systems going on? And when we look at Bank A case study, Bank A are trying to make acquisition of Bank B, and Bank B don't want to be acquired. So this turns into a hostile takeover bid, which is very interesting because once you get to a hostile bid situation, quite often another bank will make a counter bid. So what we get on the case study was Bank A making a bid for Bank B, and at the same time, Bank boss comes along making a counter alternative. So M&As will be an area of risk that sometimes you may in your career, be asked to make a risk assessment of. So very important case study. Because again, if you think of a merger or an acquisition, it's quite exciting, isn't it? Probably not for you as a risk person, but for the directors and senior management, people get swept along, don't they? Because it's something very different. Oh, it's different from our normal operations. We're going to go out and we're going to buy, this other financial institution. So generally, it's a time of great excitement, and the excitement can overtake, the sensibility of looking at this thing very carefully. Which is why a lot of mergers and acquisitions unfortunately fail, and the statistics show that. More recently, there's been better results coming through where the synergies have been looked at more closely. And generally, synergies will fall into improving, the top line performance, and generally there'll be cost savings in terms of the synergy between the organisations. If you want to read more about that aspect, Boston Consulting Group, BCG, on their website, so you can look at www.bcg.com, Boston Consulting Group, and you'll see 2017, they made a mergers and acquisition survey report, which is quite interesting reading for those of you who want to read a bit more if you've got time, because I know you're going to get like a huge volume of materials anyway. And compensation strategy will be an aspect within the integration. And then the really difficult area of saved to the last there, that's resource allocation. And Miguel's had an example of that this morning, where you can't allocate resources to the persons that he's got there. And it's the same all the time in business, it's a huge challenge. Whatever business you're in, you get the allocation of resources sufficiently right. Well, the next chart, some people like this chart, some people don't, but we still show it as a methodology for business integration. And this you will see develop as the program progresses. So module 1, generally, we're painting more with the overview picture, and then as the other modules progress, you'll see we dig down into more detail of these different following modules. So you can see there we have credit risk, for example, market risk, operational risk, and other risks. So you might want to put in liquidity risk. You might want to put in reputational risk, things like that. And then you look at the different business units within the organisation. And then there's this expression which you could probably just see under credit risk there. Can you see the word economic capital? And RAROC. Now RAROC, what that stands for, some of you may know, some of you may not. It's the risk-adjusted return on capital. Well, that's very important to make a note of because you'll find this coming into modern financial institution practices more and more, where we're not just looking at the traditional accounting ratio of return on capital. You hear people talking about this all the time. What's the return on capital of this particular project? Or what's the return on investment? This is a much more modern approach, which is called the risk-adjusted return on capital. So let's imagine, there are a few people there from Scotiabank Bank. Let's imagine we're comparing two different departments or business units within Scotiabank. So they might both be making, a return of say 10% on capital. So you could say, oh well, both these departments are the same, both these units are okay, they're both doing the same return. However, if you take this risk-adjusted return on capital, and we'll have more on this later, but this is where we try to build in a risk allocation, we might see that one of these units has a much lower risk-adjusted return on capital than the other, because they're not taking necessarily the same risk. So that's an important step on that chart. Now, some financial institutions, just to complicate matters further, they use RORAC, R-O-R-A-C, R-O-R-A-C, which is the same thing, but it's the return on the risk-adjusted capital. So you've got those two modern technologies, which you might get a question on in the exam. Now, speaking of exams, I know it's only module 1, but people do get quite apprehensive right at the start of any program about the exam. So I want to reinforce what Miguel was saying about the opportunity of doing the mock exam. Now, my understanding is there's more than one opportunity. Is that right, Miguel, for the mock exam? You don't need to just make it once. How many times?
You can take it up to 3 times. So
excellent.
Total of 55 questions.
Yeah.
The exam is on the question. What I'll do is, if I can provide you with a folder exam data. You just need to make sure that you don't memorize some of your answers. The exam could be wrong in itself. You know what I mean? It's been since it's been updated.
But the important thing about the mock exam is for 2 reasons. One, when you look at it and you get streamed results, for the different modules, you'll be able to see where you need to do maybe a bit more extra revision on a particular module. And the other, even more important thing, as Miguel mentioned, these people are based in Scotland, obviously Scotland's part of the UK, and it's not Bahamas. And I know we all speak English, we all write English in a slightly different style, yeah? So the important thing for you is to get used to the style of the questioning, yeah? And how it's set in this mock exam. And also, lots of people have never ever done an exam on a computer. They've always done the exam in the traditional way, maybe where you're writing out an essay or you're doing a paper. So doing it on the computer is quite different. So 3 important reasons. 1, to test your knowledge areas, help you with revision. Number 2, to get used to the questioning style of the examiners, which is not us, it's none of the facilitators. The exam writers are totally independent, which is a really good thing. They're based on the Chartered Banker Institute. And the other good thing to tell you is they cannot ask a question that's not in your folder, because all the exam questions are built up from the folder that you have there. So that's a very important thing. We've only had one question in over 10 years where the question was astray. Yeah? Only one. 10 years, over 10 years of running the program. So that would be good for you to do. Okay, I've slightly digressed there, but it was important to tell you about that. So RORAC and RORAC, two different model measurements for looking at the return on capital on a risk-adjusted performance basis. So that's what this is. So it's a measurement to adjust the return. So that's like the profit that you're getting, or the profit on the business line, versus the specific risk that was taken to earn that return. So this is to set out again. There's your RAROC, RAROC. And again, if I mentioned maybe you take an opportunity to look at, say, Barclays risk management transparency in investor and media relations documents, you see they'll definitely be using either RAROC or RORAC. So to risk measurement, they're just risk for return. So which product or business line is performing best in relation to risk? So that means that we can allocate performance bonuses, if there are any, in a different way, because we're then saying, well, these two units are not actually the same, although they're making the same return we thought, but when we look at the risk adjustment return, one's performing better than the other. And also it will help us with allocation of capital, because we need to support the business line that's generating the best return relative to risk. And then the final point's a really difficult one: business decision, keep or dissolve. Now that's a terrible statement to have to make when we've made these calculations. Should we really be thinking seriously, well, do we need this other division or not? But it's not as straightforward as that, as you well know, because at the end of the day, it's not always just about the mathematics. There can be strategic and very good reasons why the business has this particular unit. For example, lots of banks have always had a branch or a small representation at the airport. Now, generally, I don't know your experience there, but generally, airport branches lose money. But it's still generally important, for the organisation to have a presence there. Okay, so the final slide on this, and then we're going to start having a look at the case study. So what we're saying then is your job going forward when you're trying to integrate these risks. Now just look at these risks coming together here. Then we see, for example, let's start with the credit risk, because we do have some credit risk people in the room. Then we see the credit risk graph. Now the credit risk graph, you can see, is all downside risk. Look. Why is it all downside? Well, it's all downside because the best you can ever do in credit is get your money back, and make some interest and commission charges. So there is a worst case scenario, where we'll have non-performing loans and we'll have bad loans, etc., etc. Now let's look at market risk. Market risk is different. For example, if we're trading stocks and shares on the stock exchange, we might have some wins and some losses. So market risk, we can get pluses and minuses. Now operational risk, quite strangely, in operational risk we can have pluses and minuses, because something might happen where, say, you have a power outage, which actually works in favour of the institution, in favour of the things that we're doing. So it's not all downside. But of course, the problem in the Caribbean, quite often you see, is the catastrophic risk. This is things like the terrible hurricanes and things, particularly that we had last year. You see that's all downside risk. So when you correlate these as a risk officer or a risk manager or a chief risk officer, you can see it's a very important job, because there's a lot of downside risk shown here. Okay, so to try and bring that first session a bit more to life, what I'd like you to do is take a look at the Valens case study that you should all have now. I'm going to try and get that on the screen. So, as our share screen stayed on?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's good, that's good. Well, we're on an upswing at the moment. I don't know how long it'll last, because this is a risky business. Anyway, what I need you to do is, it's quite a short case study. It's only two pages and a tiny bit. So that'll take you maybe 10 minutes to read it through. And what I want you to do when you're reading this through, read it through individually, highlight things that catch your eye from a risk management perspective. So just imagine we're trying to come up with some lessons that we can learn from this case about risk management. And this is quite a famous case. Some of you may be familiar with it already. This is a summary of the case. So read it through. I'll give you 10 minutes. So it's now around 35. We'll talk again at 45, okay? I'll just mute my microphone for a moment and we'll talk again in 10 minutes. So read through the case, highlighting things that catch your eye. 3 minutes late. Okay, should we talk about it? So let's have a look. So quite often we would do this, placed in small groups, but because we're all so jammed in together and so we rest of the time at the beginning. So what we do is we just have open discussion on it. So anyone want to start us off? So something that you spotted which you thought was poor risk management. So let's start this off. Don't be shy. You mentioned first time together.
He had control over both the trading and back office functions.
Now we'll have to have the microphone near to whoever is speaking.
He had both the trading and back office functions.
Yeah. So here we have, although at first glance it looks a very complex situation, and this would be your experience actually. Your experience will be, and we'll find this time and time again, where we're looking at something and it's complex, he's trading these different complicated products, but there's one very, very basic thing that stands out. He's in charge of the front office and also in charge of the back office. This is the classic, isn't it? The segregation of duties. So he's checking his own work, So imagine Nick's there in Singapore. Singapore is a long way from London where the headquarters are. It's further from London to Singapore than it is from London to Nassau. It's a very long flight. About 11-hour flight. So how could that occur?
The lack of management.
Yes, which management?
Senior management.
Senior management, very good. Where is the senior management? The board, yeah. Where are they based? Yeah, they're based in London, yeah. In this typical merchant bank. So, Trader Nick Gleason, right at the start there, supposed to be exploiting low risk arbitrage opportunities. Now, if you're taking low risk opportunities, what would the board of directors, if they were thinking properly of risk versus return, what sort of return would you get if you're taking low risk opportunities? So, return, everybody knows that, it's just basic common sense. But again, in these risk situations, common sense seems to disappear. So here he's reporting huge profits in Singapore, which will be making the directors in London, the board of directors, feeling very good because he's reporting huge profits, which in turn will come into the reporting accounts in London on a consolidated basis, which means everybody's very happy because Nick Leeson's going to get some big bonuses for profitable performance, and the directors in London, they're going to be able to pay themselves big bonuses as well. But what's actually happening?
He's hiding the losses in a
Yeah, he's hiding the losses now.
Before he even got to that, his losses were mounting, but he still increased his bets.
Exactly. So the lady from the casino, I'm sure you'd like to have Nick Leeson come into your casino. I just don't know how it was. Somewhere there it is, look. First page, second paragraph from the end. Look at the error account.
Yeah.
They did. Now, I never knew this for years and years and years until just recently when we had more Chinese visitors, coming to London. And in discussion, I found out the Chinese lucky number is 8. So that's a tip for the lady from the casino for when you've got the Chinese visitors there. Make sure you don't win on number 8. Yeah, I'm sure you couldn't do that. But anyway, what's happened with this error account? So who should have investigated this error account?
Internal.
Yeah, the accountant, who comes in at the James Baker, so we're on the second page now, aren't we? Second page, fourth at the bend, James Baker, internal auditor, okay? So it's not external audit, so it's an internal audit for the bank, and we all know how difficult a job that is. Why? Because in my experience, the internal auditor, whoever the manager is, you know, what typically happens is they do it for a few years, don't they? And then they go back and do another job in the same institution. Is that right? So for these people to be very, very effective is quite difficult because they're working, you know, with their colleagues all the time. So here's the internal auditor. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he spends 2 weeks in Singapore. Look at, you should underline this, investigating the immense profits being made there. Yeah, Baker identifies weakness of internal controls and recommends that the general manager, that's Nicholson, should no longer be responsible for the back office. But look at his recommendation. A separate finance manager in Hong Kong be given part-time responsibility for watching over the back office. Now, I don't know how good your geography is, but I can tell you Hong Kong's a hell of a long way from Singapore. You know, it's thousands of miles. So how is this man based thousands of miles away with part-time responsibility to watch over the back office? I mean, that's absolute rubbish, isn't it? I would have thought, in terms of risk. Some of them, what else have you spotted? You're quite quiet at the moment, so I know it's first time you've worked together, so come on, what else have you noticed?
If you go back to the first paragraph, it says that he was buying and selling different amounts of contracts of different types.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was no way, it's a mismatch of trades.
Yeah.
So you can end up holding them positions and not being able to
Probably much. The position doesn't say us, thanks to the lax attitude of senior management.
Yeah, but it tells you that the senior manager was basically from a merchant banking background and knew very little about trading, so he didn't have the knowledge to question.
Yeah. So where does it say that?
That is on the first page, the third paragraph.
In 1993, general manager, in this capacity was able to conceal his unauthorized trading activities for over a year because he managed both the trading and back office functions. The senior managers were bearing, so this is worth highlighting, came primarily from a merchant banking background and knew very little about trading. Even in the face of large profits, should have been around, well, should have flipped them off that he was taking substantial risks. They continued to believe that Leeson had matched positions and was making a low risk profit. So again, it's absolute rubbish. So they still don't know. Now, what's interesting, fast forwarding to now in London, to take a senior board position now, and this has just happened recently because of the disasters that we've experienced ourselves in London and some of the disasters in Europe. For example, one of the large Spanish banks that collapsed about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a lady on the board of directors. When the Spanish government investigated the collapse, they asked this lady, who was a director of the bank, being paid a huge salary, 300,000 euros a year. They said to her, look, why didn't you see, from the bank's balance sheet that there was possible disaster ahead. And you know what she said? She said, well, I don't know how you'd expect me to understand the bank's balance sheet because I studied chemistry at university. I don't know anything about banking. Oh, it wasn't
and formulas.
exactly. So now in London, you have to be interviewed by the Financial Conduct Authority, to test what your skills are before you can take up a role, what we call NEDs, that's non-executive directors. So in the non-executive director role in the Caribbean, there's still lots and lots of non-executive directors who, they might be very business people, but they don't know about banking. Banking has particular sets of risks. And this aspect of trading, goodness me. Well, if any of you have ever met any of these high-profile traders, they're very difficult to deal with. Because, we all know about fast talkers that we encounter. But these traders that can give you all the mumbo jumbo when you don't have any idea about this zero-based arbitrage, blah, 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 and you haven't got the idea what the hell they're talking about. So it's very difficult for the regulator or the internal auditor to try and see what the risk is. So we've got to go back to our fundamentals. So if someone's trading, obviously from this case study, we can see that the two functions should be split. You've got to have a strong control function. And what else do you think could be set to stop, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, someone said they were betting more and more? Is that your expression? Taking on more risk? What could be done in an organization where there is a trading activity? And I know there's not that many currently in the Caribbean, but things change as time progresses. So let's imagine you've got this trading unit. What sort of things could you put in to try and help mitigate some of these risks? Any ideas?
Limits, yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. Well, you can put in trading limits. You've got to have controls, you've got to have trading limits. Some people call it the stop loss position, where the system closes down. Yeah? The trader can't continue until his whole position's being checked over by senior management. So what else can we see from this case? Anything else? So the second page, it says that right at the top, there may be a temptation to view this tobacco as being caused by just one individual, a rogue trader. No, but in reality, the fiasco should be attributed to the underlying structure of the firm. So that's the Harper's Bank, Parents Bank rather, and particularly to the lack of internal checks and balances. So very basic lack of checks and balances. So look at the last page. Look at the last page. Sorry, just to the bottom of the second last page too. At the close of trading, the error account contained 55,399 contracts and 5,640 to expire in June. This total of 59 billion yen. Now look at the next page. This is one is disgusting and it's symptomatic of poor management. The Barron's Board of Directors meet to discuss a hastily prepared analysis of the transactions. Now, if you're in this situation, would you be prepared to discuss a hastily prepared analysis?
No.
I hope you wouldn't. I hope you would call for an extremely thorough and detailed, utterly prepared analysis of the transactions. Because don't forget, this could cause the downfall of the bank. And it does. It did. It does. It can ING. £1. I mean, it's a bit more than $1, but only a bit. At the moment, it's about 1.3, isn't it? Why would they only pay £1?
That's to make it legal.
Yeah.
That's the minimum for a contract.
No, it's nothing to do with that. Just think about all the risks you see. Why would you only pay a pound? You know, when you pay a pound, that's right, you're buying the assets.
Yeah.
And you're assuming the liabilities. But of course, there's lots and lots and lots of potentially unknown liabilities, which is why they only paid a pound, yeah? Because there's still a lot of unknown liabilities that could be there. It's a very important case. Okay, now what happens to the bank? Well, the bank, the significance of this risk, and we'll talk a bit more next week about building up a risk register, like a catalogue of risk events. And this is a catastrophic event because it leads to the downfall of the bank, because the bank's capital was, I think, around about £600 million. Yeah, and he wiped out the capital of the bank. Gibson was only 27 when he joined the bank. A young man, he broke the bank. One person broke this 300-year-old bank by taking all of these risks. So you know what happened to the bank? What happened to Nick Leeson?
Did he go to jail?
Yeah, and Miguel's coming at the party we elect. Yeah. And so if you ever fly into Singapore, and some of you may have been to Singapore, when you fly in, if you look to the left as you're flying into the airport, you'll see a prison is there, which is Changi prison. And that's where Nick Leeson went. He went to prison for 7 years.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all. Now, if he'd been in the USA, he'd probably been in prison for 100 years. Because the American sentencing is much more severe. So he was in prison for 7 years. We're just about finished. Let's see some people getting ready to depart. So I'll just finish the story. So while he was in prison, he wrote a book called The Road Trader, which became an international bestseller. And then you might have seen the Americans made a film. Yeah, they made a film called The Road Trader. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to be very bad and take risks, an institution, you might as well go for a huge risk and bring the whole thing down as opposed to doing some modern risks. That's only a joke, that's only a joke. English sense of humour. Okay, guys, so we're ready to close down the session, and we've learned some risk management ourselves. We need a bigger room, and with one screen on the screen, we can share screen facility. So see you next week, and we'll get out to a better start. Meantime, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. You got the afternoon. And tomorrow afternoon's gone, it's not 5 o'clock for the evening work. But never mind. I can see you look forward to seeing you next week. It's next Saturday, yeah. So, the day will be back, because it must be good. Saturdays, yeah.
Like I said, I'll send you all the venue early next week, okay? And then this video should be up by one. You're uploading this video tonight, so this video should be up. Okay? The venue's gonna change, and we'll let you know. Yeah. Alright, you're welcome.